Good afternoon, Janet Sitole. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. How are you, Mrs. Jones?
Listen, it is great to hear your voice. I haven't seen or heard your voice in the longest time.
I know it's been a while. I think with everything that's happening with technology and chatting on WhatsApp and on social media, it feels like we've been talking, but at the same time we have not actually been seeing each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
So I think
Okay.
that's the beauty about the technology.
Please tell our listeners who is Janet the brand Sitole.
Oh wow. Where do I start? I think if I think about Janet Sitole, the brand, I probably will look back where it all started, where I grew up, which is in KZN, and it was actually between the two townships, which is Asante and Kwandengezi. It's in a small town in Pinetown, just outside of Durban. That's basically where I grew up. I grew up with my mother, with my grandmother, and in between visiting my parents. Fast forward, I moved to boarding school. That's where I did my high school. And I think if I look back, that was, I still call it the best times of my life because I
Mhm.
was out from home,
Yeah.
being a teenager, and yeah, just doing life on my own way, but also connecting with other people from different backgrounds, and also being independent at the same time.
So where was boarding
Thereafter,
school? Janet, where was boarding school?
it was boarding school was in Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
So it's also not too far out from Pinetown. It's just about 2 hours away, or just about an hour
Yeah.
away from Pinetown. Yeah. Thereafter, I moved when I completed, and must I say, with very good results, despite being independent and all. I yeah. Then I enrolled at University of Natal, where I did my first degree, Bachelor of Commerce. And again, continuing being staying in rest, because at the time, being a bright spark, I had a bursary in my university times. So I studied, I did my first degree, I stayed in res, and I was involved in quite a few social activities in res. I played softball, and I even played for the what do you call it, for the tertiary
Yeah.
institution in KZN, and I represented basically the KZN team, which was quite fantastic. I was involved in ballroom dancing. I love ballroom dancing. I did that
That
from a
used to
very,
be.
very early age.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I love ballroom. I love ballroom dancing. I'm a very good ballroom dancer and also Latin American dancer. I used
Ah,
to enter for competitions as well. And yeah, so that was basically about the first phase. And after that, when I completed my first degree, I started working whilst I was still studying part time for my postgraduate diploma. And all of that was basically in KZN. So if I look in the first 20, I'll say it's about 25 years of my life was spent in KZN. Though I moved around visiting other areas, but it was like centered in KZN.
mm,
In 2000, that's when I took a leap of faith. I moved to the big bed, Joburg. Janet comes to Joburg.
yeah.
And there is in 2000, which I now moving to the next phase of just about finding myself. And I must add, one thing I forgot, during the period, I also had my child, which is now an adult,
Yeah.
during that period when I was in varsity, my first year in varsity. So when I moved to Johannesburg, I was building my career, but also it was a period where I was now embracing motherhood, because now I'm an adult. First time staying full time with my son and looking after him, ensuring that everything end to end is in a good space.
Yeah.
So that period, it was more around motherhood, building him, raising him, but also building my career.
Was it
And it was
difficult?
all happening at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was it
It wasn't
difficult?
easy.
Yeah, tell us about
Mm.
that. Being first year, you're a
It
mom.
wasn't.
What did your parents say? What's happening?
Wow. Whew, my parents were not impressed with me because I mean I was only 19 when I had my child. So I was not even 21. So I didn't have the big 21st birthday party. You've been a good girl, da 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 da. So yeah, and they were not happy with me. But at the same time, blessings happens and we don't realize it's at the particular time.
Mm.
Something happened in our family. My father was actually diagnosed with cancer when my son was just 1 year,
Wow.
and my son was the only grandchild that my father actually got to see and got to
Wow.
meet and spend time with. And immediately when my son turned full 1 year and my father passed on.
Sure.
So in a way, whilst that was not good, it was also good in the
Yeah.
sense that my father actually experienced that moment.
Mm.
So fast forward to in Johannesburg now, we're living together. I'm working, but also excited about the big city. Life is happening, starting to date again. I'm back in the market. So it was a very it was very, yeah, and Joburg is fast paced, very I don't know what's the word, but it was a lot of dabbling between everything, but also trying to stay centered, trying to remember who I am, how I grew up, the values from home,
Mm.
and but at the same time ensuring that at work I'm excelling, I don't slack because now I have a child in front of me, but also not dropping ball with the child. So it was really quite a challenging but exciting stage of balancing it all.
Who helped
And
you
if
with
I
it?
if I look,
Who helped you with raising your child?
mm,
Did you have help?
so I did. I think it's true that a child is raised by the community. I mean, there's a saying in my culture in Zulu that whole community raises the child. So my friends were there who actually were supporting me. At some point, my brother came to stay with me, and he was actually studying during the period, and I was also in a way supporting him with his studies. So that actually helps to actually ensure that there is constant support
Yeah.
with him at home. But there were times, for example, there was a period where with just the two of us, and I forgot him at aftercare
Oh,
because I was busy in a meeting. So the teachers were busy phoning me. I was in a meeting which was running very late, and I was not looking at my mobile at the time. By the time I actually checked the messages, it was late. It was about 7, and already the school is closed. The aftercare, they had actually taken him to one of the teachers. And I remember when I went to pick him up, he's a very quiet boy, and he never used to complain. I think he understood his mother.
yeah.
So when I went to pick him up, we're in the car, we're driving, and he says to me, "Ma, please don't forget me next time," because I could see the
Oh,
teachers were not happy with me, and they were acting as if it's my fault.
yeah.
And that broke my heart. And from that moment, I had to make sure that I do not. So those were the moments. But other
Yeah.
moments were also nice where it would be weekends. We go on a soccer field, he's playing, I'm there cheering him up, we getting excited. So yeah, it was all, yeah, together
Yeah.
happening. But
Look at,
yeah, I don't regret
have you
any
have you
parts and when I
always
look back.
been at the big corporate?
I have because my first job was with Pick and Pay as a trainee manager, and then from there on I started building. I moved into the oil space because that's where I'm at right now, in the oil industry in 2005 when I joined Engine Petroleum.
Mm.
So it's always been in the corporate environment, and yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm saying you're breaking up there a little. So you've been in the oil industry since 2005. Um, is it quite
Mhm.
a intense environment?
Very intense. So I'm not really directly focused on the oil side. I'm more on the convenience retail part of the business, which which is it's focused. When you're driving into the forecourts, you get into the pumps. There by the pumps, then there's a shop. Maybe there is a bakery. There's a food. So my focus is everything outside of the fuel space. So it's a
Okay.
non-fuel business, yes. However, it's all connected, because the minute there's challenges with price, let's say there's an increase in price, we start seeing less fit into the forecourts, which means less fit into the shop, or less fit into the food space. When inflation is high, people start, not coming into our
Yeah.
convenience shops and our food space. So it's all connected.
Mm.
And in terms of heart, it is a challenging environment, and it is also quite a male-dominated
Yeah.
environment, and you
Yeah.
have to be like quite thick-skinned to be actually working in that space.
And now with lockdown, and we not we can't drive all that much. So the traffic to the garages, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose, is less. So what are the challenges right now?
Mm-hmm. So right now it's a very dichotomy space, because we find ourselves where the fuel price has dropped because of everything that's happening around us. So the fuel price has dropped, and when you go to a service station, you can get it, at a good price, but we're not driving. No one is driving, so no one is actually gonna go and fill up and then put their cars in the garage. And if they do, then there's not going to be a lot of turning in terms of jobs into the different service stations. We're seeing across Africa, because the role that I'm at right now with the company that I'm with, it covers other Pan-African, the whole of Pan-Africa countries. We've seen a huge drop. Literally, we're looking at about, give or take, about 50% drop in sales,
Oh,
and actually in fits into the forecourts and convenience stores, because people are staying at home. They
yeah.
are not moving around. So whilst the attendants are there, they are willing to actually ready and willing to serve the customers. There's no one who's coming through. People are
Yeah.
not going to the shops, and right now with people are are opting for deliveries and all of those things. So it's been a huge challenge within our environment. However, I think if you look in the future, it's also going to be a space where there's going to be more opportunities, in the sense that I don't think we're going to be as how we were before, where we go into the mall, we spend a lot of time in the malls because we're trying to be safe. So the best place to go to is going to be in the convenience stores,
Yeah.
because it's easy parking in and out, less traffic in terms of many people. So I think, yes, we're suffering for now, but in the future we're gonna actually have a good run. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive.
To
Yeah.
get back to less work and more play, you love to play. You love to
I,
travel.
I
Um,
do.
how many, I'm not going to ask you how many countries have you done, but where do you like to travel
That
to?
is
Are you there, Janice?
breaking.
I can hear you. Which
I mean, I can
which
hear now.
which countries do you like to travel to? What's like on your I know you love Africa, the rest of Africa, to go there. You've been to India,
Mhm,
you've been to all sorts of
mhm,
places. So
mhm.
what makes you travel to a specific country?
Okay. I think I get drawn by the culture and people in those different countries. Africa, especially, it's the culture. I think we have such a beautiful, raw, rich culture. And each and every country that I've traveled to in Africa, from being in Tanzania to Malawi, wherever where I've been, Rwanda, I found that it's just so much, there's just so much richness about it, the culture, the history, the resilience of whatever has happened and what they've overcome. And also just people are just warm in Africa, and I love that. And also the scenery. In some countries, it's about the landscape. I mean, in Rwanda, it's about the landscape. It's about the people. It's about how they've actually, from where they were, with everything that happened in the past, and how they've actually built the culture. I mean, the country, and they've maintained hope. And they're just amazing people. I enjoy that. But then you go to Malawi, it is beautiful driving around, going into the Lake Malawi. It is just amazing. The nature, just the feel of it. I don't know how to explain it, but you feel like you can touch it,
Yeah.
the way it is. So I love those things. And then when I get
Listen,
outside of Africa, I think one of my, sorry.
no, I was going to say that sometimes we see you on social media and it says, I am in, let's say, for example, in Rwanda, and then we think it's a joke. You planning to go, but then you actually are already in the country because you can decide today, I'm booking a ticket tomorrow and I'm going.
Mm,
How does it
mm.
affect your 360 life?
it, it's you know what, my motto in life is that I live, I don't exist.
Yeah,
I want to leave a legacy, which is my other phase in my life, which I'm at right now. So I'm all about living, and I tried as much as possible to plan, but sometimes planning does not work, and I have to improvise in between. So at some point, I actually decided to take a sabbatical so that I can actually do the things that I love, and that was in it was in 2018. Yeah, I spent 6 months doing me and doing what I love, and traveling, spending time with family, and spending time with friends, and just being. And for me, I know most people were looking at it like, how are you gonna afford it and this and that. I said to myself, you know what, you live once.
yeah,
So the little that I actually planned to put away, I actually make sure that I use it and I use it wisely. And when I travel, I'm not aiming for a 5-star
yeah.
hotel, because I'm not going to be spending my time in a hotel. I literally up and go and come back to sleep. And that is me. I'm all about experimenting and exploring the country. So
I
yeah,
love I love that about you. And when you went to India,
uh,
how was India?
you know what's interesting, Mrs. Jones, about India? I read a book, Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Excuse me. And when I read that book, and he talks about also taking a time out, and he went to India and he was finding himself. It's a brilliant book. I would recommend for everyone to read. It's one of the books that changed my life. And from reading that book, I said, I'm going to India. Then I started working towards going to India. So that was the first time joining a tour group and traveling with people. We actually, literally, the whole of us met in Delhi at the hotel, and it was people from different countries. I was also this person coming through from Africa. At the time, I had dreadlocks, and I remember the tour guide telling us to say, "You, Janet, especially, you've got dreadlocks. You just need to be careful here in India, because people are not used to dreadlocks. You're going to find that they're going to be touching you a lot, your hair, wanting to understand if it's real or it's not real or whatever the case is." And then he told the other lady who was blonde to say, "You are also another target because you are blonde. Indians, they actually like blonde hair because they're also not used to seeing blonde hair." Cool, go. Then we did the trip. Truth pop. That's exactly what happened. Everywhere I went, people were like touching me, and then they were asking me, "Where are you from? Are you from Jamaica? Jamaica?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. From South Africa." "Oh, Bafana, Bafana." I'm like,
Ah,
"Yeah."
yeah.
Mandela, Mandela, yes, yes, Mandela, Mandela. So it was a very good trip, very soul fulfilling, and also a time for me to also break away from everything that was happening in my life at the time and look at life differently. It
Mm,
was literally 3 weeks of just traveling, experiencing different cultures, different people. And one thing, when I came back, I was very, 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 and very grateful and appreciative of what I have in our country,
right
looking
here.
at how these people are actually living, and what is happening in India and all of those things. So that's another thing about travel, at least for me. I also take those nuggets out to say, you know what, my life is not that bad. Let
Mm,
me actually enjoy what I have and not complain a lot.
Mm.
So that is me. Yeah, but it was
Okay.
amazing. I ticked my other box there of visiting Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I remember your pictures about the blue mosque
Are
as
you
well.
there?
No, I am. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
One of my on my bucket list
Yes.
before I die is to go to India, for my own reasons. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, bucket
Mhm.
list. But like you say again, I mean, one might not
Yeah.
even
A
have
good
the
bucket
opportunity
list.
again to travel the way that we used to travel. Things are going to change so
Mm.
tremendously in the travel sphere.
No,
I look.
no, we have to. I still need to go to Ghana, so we have to travel.
I also want to go to Ghana. Listen, and then you lived in Cape Town. I'm just watching our time also. You lived in Cape Town for a while and you call Cape Town, where I live, the Republic of Europe. Why?
Losing you.
Can you hear me, Janet? We are
Yes,
listening
you are
to
back.
Janet Tole,
Yes, you are back.
and world traveler. She loves cars. She loves food. She loves clothes. She loves life.
Cooking.
Yes, all of those things. Um,
Mhm.
but when you came to Cape Town, you lived here for a while, and then you called Cape Town the Republic of Europe. Why?
Can you not go there? You know what? When I moved to Cape Town, and I love Cape Town. By the way, it's I still believe when I go to Cape Town and I retire, I'm where touch.
You're breaking
But
up.
it was very okay. It was very interesting when I moved there. I found that it was a very European. I think it's very European, and you move around. You hardly, especially at night, you hardly find. And I'm being I don't know what's the word, but you hardly find black people.
Mm,
So you see a lot of white people, but there's a less fraction of black people until you go to Mzoli's in Kukuletu or to Kaeli, Chakwame, Kwa Ace or wherever. But in the city, I just found it was quite different. I remember when I came back, or when I went to KZN after being to Cape Town for like 6 months, it was like a shock. I saw a lot of black people and Indians in KZN. And I was like, what was happening? It feels like I've just come from Europe where
mm.
I've been, and now I've just come back to Africa. So for me, that's how it came about. That it's like Europe, but also the
Yeah.
weather. It's got its own different weather. One day, one time it's like hot, and the next thing it's cold. You never know
Yeah.
which weather that's gonna happen today. So it's all the mixture of all of those things
Yeah.
made me realize that I'm
Listen,
actually in Europe.
and cooking. You are forever experimenting with
Yes.
dishes and food. What's happening?
I love cooking. I enjoy experimenting. I enjoy going to restaurants. I enjoy entertaining people even at home and making sure that they're well catered for and I cook for them. We have drinks and everything. Yeah, and I've decided, oh, I must tell you something else as well. And this year, it's official, it's on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on Come Dine with Me.
Oh my word!
So,
I
not going
can't
to.
help. I can't help to laugh my ass off. Because the South African one is hilarious. So I can't wait for that one. When is it on?
Yeah, it's on this month on the 27th of May. It's on channel 174 DSTV. So please check it out, Mrs. Jones.
I will. I'm gonna
Please.
host a watch party just so that we can laugh.
Oh my word! But please don't expect too much from me.
Oh God,
Okay,
God.
rather, let's put it this way: manage your expectations. Manage your expectations.
I will.
Yeah.
But
So I mean,
no, I
it's
think
also
people
one
who
of
go
my
there are
bucket
very
list.
brave. People are very brave to go there because you have to.
Most people have been sorry.
No, you have to still go out in public, eh?
I know. I was actually thinking it's actually a good thing that we are on lockdown now, so I don't have to quickly go out in public. So I can just stay at home for now.
Listen, we are running out of time. Lastly, let's chat about your grandmother
Mm.
now, and you are loving
I
it.
am. I'm a clammy. I'm a
Yes.
clammy. I'm loving the moments. I'm loving the moments with my granddaughter. She just turned 1. Oh,
Yeah.
she's 14 months now. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Which is the phase now. Talking about the phase I'm at now, it's the phase of building my legacy. And that legacy, it actually involves my granddaughter. So I'm loving
Okay.
every moment. Yeah.
Okay. Listen, it was fantastic talking to you. That it I would have taken lockdown to get you and I to have a face-to-face conversation. I am
Mm.
promising you, I'm gonna keep this video for a day before we watch that show of
Mm.
yours. And I am
Yeah.
really, really grateful to know you and
Mm.
to just have you in my life. That you know that like when you open a bottle of Coke and you shook in that, it just all comes out. You are like that bottled up person. Listen, thanks very much. Have a
Oh,
fantastic
thank
weekend.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you, Mrs. Jones. Thank you so much.